We've got a very special guest, Alex Scott, with a brand new book, How Not to Be Strong. An invincible working in the laundry room.
Yeah, you're going to think I'm crazy, but...
Alex the footballer becomes Alex the TV pundit.
Life is funny sometimes. My face is just everywhere. There it is.
Welcome back to AFTV, guys. It's a good Monday, isn't it? It's a
Happy
good Monday.
Mondays.
I like days like today.
Oh man, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I'm buzzing.
I'm still, listen, there's only a certain amount of fixtures in the season that you can really indulge in for a while after. And I'm sure there's some celebration police out there. Oh, you're overdoing it. It's one win. And I hear that we mostly do beat Tottenham at home. But listen, when you've got a rivalry that's this intense, when you've got Antonio Conte, Harry Kane, you're up against Heung-min Son, all these guys that have just, for years, I just can't stand because of who they are, Tottenham players and all that. It's just, I'm going to enjoy every minute of this. How are you?
I'm absolutely buzzing, man. Absolutely buzzing, James. I mean, it was a great result, great performance. And I'm probably buzzing a lot more than maybe some other fans, is because I called it. I called 3-1.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I've been on so many. You put your neck on the line. You know what I mean? So I've been on so many different shows and collaborations, and even before the game, I was on Sky.
Yep.
I did an interview. It wasn't even an interview. I was on Saturday Social. Mm-hmm. It shows like Smithy, the host, good guy. Joe's a Man United fan as well. Hey, they had a bad weekend then too. I'll tell you that, right? But I was on their show and they asked me about the game, and I said I fancy us to win 3-1. And they're like, 3-1? I said, yeah, I fancy us to win 3-1. They asked me to say why, and I gave them my reason why. I'm like, Spurs are going to come, park the bus, and try and catch Arsenal on the counter-attack. And I'm saying Arsenal are a very, very good side. Mm-hmm. If you've been watching us this season, we play great football, attacking football, and I think we'll take our chances and we'll win 3-1. I think we'll concede, but we win 3-1. So for it to turn out exactly how I sort of predicted it, first of all, that was really nice. But then also, I was just really proud of the performance of the team. I felt that we were brave. Tottenham are a good side. And they've got very, very dangerous players. And we all know Son, Kane, Richarlison. They're a dangerous side. If you're not on it, remember they came into that game. Let's not remember that. Not forget that. Sorry, they came into that game unbeaten. Yep. They hadn't lost a game this season, right? So, for us to, I thought, swat them aside the way we did, I thought was really, really impressive. Then on top of that, yesterday, they just rounded off my weekend beautifully, because I got invited to this event at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which was the American football.
Would you have gone if we'd
NFL.
lost?
Now, listen, when they invited me, it wasn't Tottenham who invited me, by the way, right? But when they invited me, I said, I'll come if we win. I said, if we lose, I'm not going near that ground. I can't handle it, you know what I mean? So obviously we did win. I went, and it was just so ironic, right? The box that I was in, that I got invited into, was right next to Harry Kane's box. And he was just like, literally, he was just across the way there. And I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking, yeah, mate, 3-1, son, 3-1. He was there with his brother and his family and all that, and I was telling you, I was just grinning from ear to ear, man. And it was fantastic. And then when I left the ground, I met Matt Turner and Rob Holding.
Yeah, you told me.
Had a great chat with them. Really, really nice guy. Rob Holding is one of the nicest guys you will ever meet. He's just like a regular guy. And was having a great chat with him. And I'll tell you, I was saying to him, I was going, yo, please, Rob, pass on the message to all the team. The fans are loving what you guys are doing this season. We're loving how you guys are playing. We're loving the connection. You know what I mean? Just keep it going. We know there's going to be bumps. We know there's going to be defeats. We know this is football. But what you guys are doing at the moment, you're giving all for the fans. You're giving all for the badge. just keep doing it. And that was really nice to have a really, long talk with him, you know what I mean? And Matt Turner as well is really into his American football. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful weekend. I think I've watched the game about, I think it was up to about 15 times, but I was watching it twice again earlier.
What, the whole game or just highlights?
No, just the highlights now. The highlights. Right? Listen, it's glorious.
Yeah,
and for all these Spurs fans, James, I don't know if you've had it. They have been so salty, man, making excuses. Oh, Robbie, it was yesterday, right? Yesterday. This is the common excuse I kept hearing from Spurs fans yesterday, remembering I was at their ground, yeah? Oh, Robbie, had it not been for the red card, I'm like, bro, when Emerson Royal got the red card, which by the way is his own fault.
Yeah.
I even heard expression saying that on his thing. It's his own fault. Nobody told him to do it. But when he got the red card, we were winning. It weren't like the game was 1-1. We were winning 2-1 and we were so on top. So on top. I mean, the first half I thought was pretty even because we were the team on the front foot and they were trying to catch us on the counter-attack, and it was 1-1. The second half, from the minute the second half started till the end, it was all Arsenal. And I asked every Tottenham fan this, right? Apart from the save that, we had to make from Richarlison.
Yeah.
Great save by Ramsdale.
Kick, yeah.
Apart from that save, what other save in the game did Ramsdale have to make?
Yeah, completely with you.
What save did he have to make? They scored from a penalty. They didn't really have many shots on goal or anything. Mm-hmm. Right? It was light work, if I'm being honest, in the end.
Yeah.
Right? So stop being salty, man. Just give the credit to Arsenal. You got completely outplayed, Spurs. Completely outplayed and dominated, and we deserve to win 100%.
Well, there's a lot of parallels with what happened in May with Cedric giving away the penalty, Rob Holding getting sent off.
Yeah.
You could say, and actually I remember the first 5-10 minutes of that game, Arsenal started quite well.
Yeah.
So you could be saying, well, if the referee hadn't given the penalty,
Dodgy
was
penalty
it a bit
as well.
soft?
Remember, that penalty was
yeah,
very soft.
It was soft. I mean, I see why it was given. As I said that at the time, I didn't have too many complaints about that. The red card, you definitely can't complain about, but no one's coming away from it going, oh, we win that North London derby.
Oh, had Rob Holding not been sent off, we would have been, maybe Ty might have been the only one to say something like that. But right, listen, when we played them at their place, they dominated us. They deserved to win. We defended poorly, But these lot, they're making excuses. They say, well,
it's funny.
until the red card.
Yeah, no, I've done the usual, watching Tottenham fans' reviews of it, and in fairness, the ones I've come across have been fairly fair on it all. It's more on Twitter I've been seeing, but I think it's because Arsenal fans will always comment and retweet on the ones they don't like. I've seen a little bit of Arsenal aren't all that, and actually, if we'd been a little bit better on the counter, we would have hurt them, and blah, blah. And I'm sitting there thinking, my God, let's be real, right? Arsenal, I don't even think were particularly at their best on Saturday. They were very good, but I think in terms of creativity, zipping our passes, all that, and part of that is credit to Tottenham. I think they actually defended well in that first half and they looked like they had something on the counter. But you're right, you summed up in what you said there. What did Ramsdale have to do other than that save from Richarlison?
He had nothing to do. This is somebody, I don't know, somebody remind me of a save that he had to make in that second half, for instance. What? No saves.
But this is why this red card for me, okay, what does the red card change? For me, it changed the fact that maybe there would have been a slightly more nervy moment at some point for Arsenal. No doubt Tottenham would have maybe had a chance or two as you get later in the game with 11 men and all that. But we scored in the 48th, and I can't remember when the red card was. It was after 60 minutes, I'm pretty sure. So from the goal up to that moment, where Tottenham actually responded quite well in the first half when we scored. In the second half, we scored, and then it was total control. We had the ball, we were moving them around, they couldn't get near us. There was a little bit of debate about on a penalty with Jesus maybe, but I mean, probably not. And otherwise, it was just one-way traffic. So this idea that, well, it would have been different if it weren't for the red, I think is really delusional. I think Arsenal were in total control throughout. And sometimes they say, when you're down to 10 men, you work that bit harder, you get a bit more compact, you make a bit more. But no, actually, Arsenal just carved through them. And actually, the only reason we didn't score 4 or 5 is because we took our foot off the gas, quite frankly.
Listen, right, you could argue that Emerson Royal did you a favour by getting sent off Tottenham fans, right? Because he's so crap, right? So I think he actually helped you lot out. Because whilst he was on the pitch, the amount of times he got twisted up, man. Martinelli, no, listen, seriously, why do you think he did that to Martinelli? He'd had enough. He's like, no, I can't take this no more, man. This is, it was
a very lazy tackle.
Yeah, no, he's like, how many more times is this guy
going
to be just spinning me, twisting me up, taking the mick, man? I can't deal with this no more. I can't take it no more. Oh, that's what he did. That's what he did.
It was maybe petulance is the word. It was basically like, I'm so sick of this guy, and he's going round.
Yeah.
Let me just leave it. Let me just stick a leg out, bring him down, maybe take the yellow, on we go.
Warned these Tottenham fans when we did the super fan debate. I said to them, listen, your front three, Kane, Son, we were talking more about Kulusevski at that time.
He was a big miss for them,
right?
I do think.
Or Richard, you got a £60 million replacement.
That's true.
That's a great front three.
Yeah.
Fantastic front three. One of the best front threes in European football.
Yeah.
But I said to them, but we've also got a very, very good front three. We've got Jesus, Xhaka, Martinelli. Remember what one of them said? Martinelli! You're comparing him. Oh, look what he did in the game. They couldn't live with him. They couldn't live with Saka on the right. They couldn't live with him on the left. They couldn't live with Jesus down the middle. Partey run the midfield. When I say run the midfield, he run the midfield. Granit Xhaka also ran the midfield. Where was Bentancur and all these guys? Xhaka, brilliant. And then in defence, William, Saliba, Ben White in particular, those two. I mean, it was a very one-sided affair.
There's a comment from Tsushima who says, apparently Harry Kane was so angry with the loss, he kicked a TV and Richarlison went over.
Yeah, there's loads of comments coming in. Loving this. Wayne Sage says pundits are twisting themselves into pretzels, trying to not give Arsenal any credit. Heard one say Arsenal won't finish above Tottenham. Jason says such a fun game, and Ramsey made that Richarlison and corner kick save. Learn from the Douglas Luiz one.
Yes, yeah.
Come on, you Gunners, from NYC.
That's a good point.
Aston Mac TV, big up Aston Mac. Big up to everybody down there. I'll tell you what I've been seeing that's been going down there in Florida is absolutely horrible, man. And my thoughts and prayers going out to everybody down there in Florida and Aston Mac. I know you guys down there in Florida would have been cheered up by the result of the game. He says, big up Robbie and James. We had 15 of our 22 shots before the red card. Spurs got wrecked. Absolutely.
That's a great stat.
Absolutely.
That's one for tactical insight, man.
Yeah, that's a great stat. Diego says, lots of love, you guys. James, really liked the tactical show today. Love from Colorado.
Thank
and
you.
those who woke up early for the North London derby. I know it's an early wake up when it's a 12:30 kickoff. So about Colorado, probably waking up around 7, 6 in the morning in time there.
Maybe even earlier, yeah.
Nelly says, why are you never live with a buyer show? Come on, all right, we can do a few lives on that because it's filmed as live. We don't.
You just want to send comments to Ty, don't you? That's all it is.
Jason says, he was in his element today, Ty. You got to watch the Bias Premier League show.
I bet he was.
Jason said we should have had a penalty kick too. They took down Jesus in the box. A lot of people saying that. I need to look at that again.
It wasn't Stonewall for me. I couldn't really.
There was contact though, wasn't
I think there was. There
weren't a great deal of contact on the. I mean, I did think it was a penalty by Gabriel, but it wasn't a great deal of contact on that one, was it?
So I had a slightly controversial opinion on the penalty that obviously it didn't air at the time because we won, and it. Let me just say, it is a penalty for me. I do think it's a penalty. He's gone to ground and he's made contact quite clearly with Richarlison, and it's a penalty. But I did think there was a little bit of... And by the way, I'm not criticising Richarlison for it. It's very clever. I think there was a little bit of him moving towards where he thinks the tackle or block's going to be made, and therefore initiating contact, I suppose you call it.
Well,
I don't think it was...
There was contact there, wasn't there?
I'll be honest, I was struggling to see it.
He went down, he was holding his foot, he couldn't hardly even get up to do that header properly, which that was another chance he could really have scored from.
Yeah, I think he was a bit unsighted by that. It wasn't a great effort, was it? But actually on reflection, it's probably a better chance than it looked on first viewing. I think ultimately the ref came to the right decisions. Richarlison's a penalty, Emerson's a red card, Gabriel Jesus isn't a penalty, and I think he got the main ones right. Though I think there's debate slightly to be had on all of them.
Elijah said the club deserves props for what they're doing to build the atmosphere at the games. The brass band, the early bird offers, and the players' songs at full time. Love it. Yeah, I love at full time the players' songs.
Yeah.
Chatiana says, with Emil Smith-Rowe out, what is your lineup for the Europa League? I don't want Martinelli or Xhaka being overused. Wrap up the Europa League as soon as possible. Well, we'll be doing previews and that to the Europa League, so I'm sure you'll see our lineups, but I'd love to see another start in there for... gosh, his name slipped.
Marquinhos.
Sorry, Marquinhos. Sorry.
You've seen the clip of Marquinhos.
I'd love to see a start for him.
You've seen the clip of him celebrating the goal. I think it was the third goal. They had a good view of sort of Arteta celebrating, but you see Marquinhos sprint out in front of the camera. He was loving it.
I love Marquinhos, man. Constantine says, we can swim in the sea of the rival tears. Pundits or rivals are salty. Their backsides are hurting because the results now matter in the table. And remember, as I said, Spurs went into that game unbeaten. You know what? I was saying to the guys in the box, I want to big up some of the guys in here yesterday. Big up Majestic, big Tottenham fan, right? He's the DJ Majestic.
Yeah.
He was in there, massive Tottenham fan. He was running over to take picture with Harry Kane, all that, right? I said to him, I go, are you happy with what you're watching?
Yeah.
Week in, week out. That style of football. I know you went over it when you guys were doing the Tactical Insight show today, but I'm sorry. I was looking at Tottenham and I'm like, in the first half in particular, at all times they had 5 at the back. You can't even call that a back three. It was 5 at the back. Son and Richarlison and Kane were so deep. It was unreal. They were like, I'm like, they're so deep. So even when they were trying to do a counter, Arsenal could get back. You know what I mean? You just had to get a sprint on to get near to them. I was like, this is... Yeah. I know that's sort of been their style. And listen, coming into the game at the weekend, they've been unbeaten. But I'm like, with the players that they have at their disposal, is that it? I mean, listen, I hope they continue to do that. But I just can't help thinking, like, and I was saying that to Majestic yesterday, I was like, are you pleased with watching that style of football? And there was another guy there as well, who's a Tottenham fan, and I was asking him, and he was like, you know what, to be honest, he goes, whilst we're winning, we're happy with it, but obviously if we're not winning and that's the style of football, he goes, I want to see better really with the players that we've got, you know?
But that's it. They've got players who are in their prime, if not coming out of their prime, and they feel they need to get something now. And Conte is one of the best managers in the world, if not the best, when it comes to getting someone who, with fairly not limited resources. What I'm saying, he doesn't need 200 million to level up a team massively. So I think it's the right match. Conte with this group and where Spurs they want to be competing with the very best, so they want to get a trophy over the line. And there's no doubt he's an elite manager. But the football, and it's less so yesterday because Tottenham have come with lots of different managers, lots of different styles of football, and they've been battered at the Emirates. That's happened, right? And we've been battered at their place plenty of times. But the North London derby is not really the way to measure it. I watched their game against Leicester, and I couldn't believe that I watched a team win 6-2, and I came away from it thinking, but they weren't that good. That's how strange it is. But when you got firepower, you've always got a chance, and they really have firepower.
Oh no, without a doubt.
I wonder if there's a more deadly front 3 in the league, if I'm being really honest. In terms of pure output,
Probably not.
you know, I think Martinelli and Saka are extremely creative, but the output's not quite at that level. But they're also much younger and all these things. So, you know, there's taking the obviously it's AFTV and it's an Arsenal channel. Taking the Arsenal side out of it for a sec, I can kind of see why Conte wants to be pragmatic and efficient and all that.
I don't.
You don't?
I don't. No,
I don't. I can get it.
I look at that team and I'm saying to myself, I can give you some mistakes that he made, right? Straight off. I'm glad he made his mistakes, but he made straight off. Number one, way too defensive coming to the Emirates, right? Also a very, very attacking team. You cannot give up all that possession and expect to get a result, especially when you know that normally when you come, you don't get a result there. Number two, playing Emerson Royal when you've got Jed Spence. Jed Spence played against us for Nottingham Forest.
Against Martinelli.
And was unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you throw a player in because you're like, you know what, when you've played against Arsenal, you've done well, right? So I'm going to throw you in. Yves Bissouma, every time he plays against Arsenal, he has a great game. Why is he on the bench? I'm glad he did that. But to me, that was where him not really giving enough respect to Arsenal, him not giving enough thought, I felt, to Arsenal. He just came and said, right, we've got our game plan that we do every game, and we're just going to do that. And they've been getting away with it, Tottenham. You speak to their fans and they'll admit it. When they played against Chelsea in that game, that's why I knew we'd win this game, because Chelsea was on the front foot in that game, completely dominated Spurs, but they didn't take their chances. Should have been out of sight before Spurs got that dodgy equaliser right at the end of the game. Right? When they played against Nottingham Forest, I thought Forest dominated them. Forest dominated them for large spells of the game, but again, it was the quality of Harry Kane that won them that game. That's all. It was the quality of that front three, right? When they played against Leicester, like you said, Leicester were dominating a lot of the game, but they can't defend, can they, Leicester? So, you know, and then obviously Son came on and they gave him so much space and time. You give a player of that, you know, world-class player like that time and space, you're going to get hurt. But they've had so many games this season. I think the only game where they were really convincing was the first game of the season when they played Southampton. They've not been playing great, but they've been winning, and a lot of their fans are wait until we play great. But I'm just looking at it and think, but in a way, it's not just that you've not been playing great. That is your style. Your style is give up lots of possession. And when you give up lots of possession, it seems in games a lot of times that you're not playing great.
Well, it's funny
because you haven't got the ball for long spells. You know,
it's funny because Conte is a manager who, yes, he's considered pragmatic compared to a Klopp or a Guardiola, but his Chelsea team also got 90 points and scored a bucket load of goals, and were quite entertaining to watch. And he built an Italy side, you know, off scraps, really. You know, they weren't the best Italy squad to go to Euros, and dismantled Spain. You know, he can actually get a team ticking and looking very assured in possession. So I wonder whether it's maybe some of the players they've got, or I don't know, for whatever reason he feels the need to be very conservative.
His players,
with this Tottenham group.
He's not really a team full of, like, you know, they're his players. Perisic, all these guys, these are his players. You know what I mean? I just feel that, you know, he's a bit predictable. He's a great manager, but he's just a bit predictable, and and I thought he got completely outdone by Arteta. I mean, Rizwan. Sorry, let's do this one before you come to you. Rizwan said people need to put some respect on Arteta's name. This season's Arsenal team is currently top of the league, playing beautiful football. Man United fans, you need therapy after that violation. Haaland is a monster. He is, man. Yasavi says gave up by making defensive subs. I would be pissed off if Arteta did that. Shocking. And all the pundits would be mad. You cannot give up in a derby no matter what. You know what? That's a great point you made there, Savi.
I agree with that.
Yesterday, again, speaking to those Tottenham fans, they were taking issue with that as well. They were like, you know, we know we got obviously they got a Champions League game Tuesday, tomorrow, right? But they were very upset by the fact that he just put on like 5 defensive players. They were like, well, what's this? You know what I mean? Well, you just given up the ghost. But then, having said that, in a way, I agree with Conte, because all your fans have gone home as well. So what's the point? Just give it up, man. If the fans ain't backing it, right? Let's give up the whole thing, man. And just it was glorious, because listen, all their fans have gone. All their fans have gone on.
Yeah. And it's not it's 2 years in a row that Arsenal have put in an emphatic performance, had it won fairly early in the game, and left them.
Last year, don't forget what the Tottenham fans said. Last year, that was Nuno. That wasn't Conte, that was Nuno. Who was it on Saturday? Was that Nuno as well? All the excuses, man, they'll tell you. Just give... Well, you know what? When they beat us last year, I gave them their respect. I'm like, yeah, they're better than us. I said it at the time. I go, right now, they deserve to win that game. They deserve to get the top 4 because they were better. They were better than us. Our mistake is we should have strengthened our squad in January, but we didn't. But going into this game, I'm like, yo, it's not like last year. Look at the players who played. He's a Mohamed El Neni, I think, Eddie Nketiah up front. Rob Holding, remember, had to come in. There was Cedric was in there. This is a different team. This is like, we went into this like pretty full strength. The only person missing was Emerson Smith Rowe, right? So we was full strength in this one, and they were full strength. Only Kulusevski was missing. But as I said, Richarlison, a £60 million replacement, and we bossed it from start to finish.
Yeah. The excuse I'm not having is Lloris made a mistake, and so...
It's their keeper, isn't it?
But also, yeah, okay, and Gabriel made a mistake and you got a penalty. By the way, Kane's 7th penalty goal in 14. By the way, that's not his fault. Before giving him penalties, he's got every right to tuck them away and score his goal and enjoy him. But my point is, Lloris's error was as much of an error as Gabriel's. He didn't need to go diving in, and you got to go out of nothing, really. So,
and it's great that Gabriel Jesus was alive to the fact. Remember that, right?
Yeah.
It's the fact that this guy is so alive to anything like that in the game that he just pounced on it straight away and managed to score the goal.
Yeah. And by the way, I thought Gabriel Magalhaes responded really well after that. Actually, I thought his second half, him and Saliba were absolutely superb.
Garbo Staunton says not a penalty on Jesus. His ankle got stamped on by Romero after the challenge, hence his limping before the header. Okay, From the Future says 5 at the back is James's best formation. Is that your best formation, James?
Absolutely not.
You're not. I know you're not a fan of that. D3MI says I typed something on my Insta status. Could I send you the link and you tell me if you agree? Okay, you can do, as long as it's clean. Ray Pest says, Robbie, do you think we need a backup for Jesus? Who would you buy in January as a backup? I do. That's the one little worry, right? In that Eddie Nketiah is an able backup. I would like to, I've said it since the summer, I would have liked to have seen us buy another striker who's a different style, maybe something a bit different. I'd like, if we're similar types of positions to where we are now, which is in and around it, where we can mount a challenge for the title, I want us to go for it in January and go and strengthen so that we're not left short, because that's what happened last year. We got left short in certain areas. Remember, much as I'm overjoyed with this performance against Tottenham, it's still quite early in the season. It's a long season this year because of the World Cup, and we've got certain players who are key. Saliba is key at the back.
Yeah,
he's key. What a baller.
But this is what happens.
Jesus is key. But then I guess you could say that about other teams. I mean, as great as Man City are, Haaland's key at the moment, isn't he? So,
but that's it. When you get a player that's that good or is having that big an impact on your team, you then dread the thought of losing them for whatever reason. The reality is we needed a Jesus because we needed a player of his quality. And now we're going, oh, but what if Jesus can't play? Then we need a second Jesus. And actually, a lot of squads don't have a second, third version of some of their best players. What you can have, though, is a squad of 16, 17 that cover the 11 positions really well between them. I think if Jesus were to get injured, or we were to miss him through, a suspension for whatever reason, it'd be so, we undoubtedly our level would drop. But I think Eddie could come in and do a job. I thought he looked really good when he came off the bench. You got Smith Rowe could play on the left. Martinelli can move up front. You can move things around, actually, and and find that Arsenal would still have 11 very good players out there. So I'm not stressed about Jesus' fitness, but there's no doubt that we lack something when we don't have him, because you just have to look at the impact he's made on us this season since arriving.
My inner Turkish, I love that. He says, a bit worried about Gabby. Same mistakes since we signed him. He's not learning. Luckily, we were able to bounce back because of our attackers. He was a bit. He's got to just cut some of this rashness out of his game. Paul Balogun says, best duo on live is James and Robbie by a mile. Oh, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Jason says, you think Conte leaves pretty soon? I did meet these fans at the Arnold show, the Italian guys. One was questioning your Italian roots. I had to remind him that...
What does James Bayliss not sound very Italian?
But I did tell him that you speak fluent Italian, James.
Well, thank you, Robbie.
Did he? He does he? Yeah. So he said, but he goes, I'll take it all. He says, I'll take it all back. But he's a massive Juventus fan, and he seems convinced that Conte will be coming back to Juventus, and he's saying that, like everybody over in Italy is saying that. Also, Roba says, how do we cut out the penalties when we play Tottenham? I know we always seem to give away a penalty to Tottenham. Filmer says, backup for Jesus is essential. Ideal players will be like Broja, Watkins, or, not going to read that one. And Giuseppe Jones says, Arsenal always have and will play team football. It's in our DNA, and we will not rely on a couple of players to win. It's fine for people to hate us. It's part of our history. George Graham togetherness. Harry Weston says, Jed Spence posting could have been different. Or does he mean could have been different? I'm so proud of our team. I just worry about our mental side and how we fell at the last hurdle last season. I think that's about learning from that, and that's about strengthening the squad. Elijah says, after the match, I watched back the combined 11 debate. I wonder if those lads would have back Lloris with so much chest now. I said at the time, when I was doing it, and they were going Lloris over Ramsdale, in my head I'm shaking, I'm going, no chance. But, I was hosting it, so I was like, but I'm thinking, no chance. Lloris is a good goalkeeper, but he makes a lot of those mistakes, don't he?
I'm
lot of those errors.
I'm not convinced, and what I mean by convinced is, what has he been at the club, 8-9 years or something at Tottenham, and over that time he's looked a good / very good goalkeeper. But I've never understood this. I'm not saying this necessarily exists, but this massive hype towards him. And I was arguing for Ramsdale being a better goalkeeper at the end of last season.
I think he's a better keeper.
We went to their place.
All-round keeper, you know what I mean?
Well, goalkeepers are expected to do more than ever before now. And actually, Ramsdale, I thought, went under the radar for quite how good he played in this game.
Yeah.
His distribution was on point. It was phenomenal. Clearly, his communication at the back with everyone, especially in the second half, was very, very good, because we kept them at bay, and the goalkeeper plays a part in the organisation of Saliba and Gabriel. He dealt with everything that came in the box. Someone said in the comments earlier, a bit like Douglas Luiz, they put it right on him at one point, and he was dealing with those pretty well. And he made the big save from Richarlison at 0-0, when I think White's just about played them all onside. So he had a really good game, and that went under the radar.
Thought White had a great game as well.
Yeah,
James, you're the master of tactical insight, right? You do the show with Graham, brilliant show, where you break things down. I haven't actually had a chance to watch the show yet. I'll be watching it when I get home later on tonight. But what I want to ask you is one question here. What is it that has made Granit Xhaka so good? This question. Guy is looking so good. I've said it before. Last season he was a very consistent player, apart from some of the silly red cards, but he was very consistent. This season he's looking mustard. The way he took his goal,
it's a great goal.
The way he just created space for himself, and just bang, once it was on that left foot, it was never in doubt. What's been this big change, even from, as I said, even from last season, where he played really well, I thought, but this season he's like, wow. You're looking at a player and you're like, wow.
It's a great question, and the answer There probably are 5 or 6 reasons, and it's a little bit of a perfect storm, and it's all come together. I think first and foremost, he is in his prime years. You know, they do say 27 to 30 is when you play your best football. So I guess there's that. Experience helps. He's playing in a better team with better players around him. When you're a central midfielder, especially one that likes to get on the ball, you need your defenders to be good at distributing it to you, and you need your front players to make the good runs and the right movement and find the right pockets so that you could pick out those passes. So I think having the right players and the right system around helps. I think Arteta's been a big part of that. I also think there's something, I think his development and his improvement kind of mirrors Arsenal's, and it's kind of a question, you know, have Arsenal improved because Granit Xhaka's got better, or has Granit Xhaka got better because the team's improved? I think generally there's this, I don't know how to explain it, like almost Arteta is trusting him to do more and get forward more because everything else is now in place. So almost, Granit Xhaka wasn't one we knew for lung busting runs and getting into the box and getting goals and assists. He's now got 5 goals and assists in 8 Premier League games. You know, that is far better, contribution per game than we've ever seen from him at Arsenal. And I think a lot of that is down to the fact Partey's nailed how to play that number 6 role, is playing it brilliantly. So you can go a little bit forward and leave him a little bit more exposed because he deals with it well. Gabriel and Saliba cover brilliantly, but also Zinchenko and White slot into those spaces as well, and they create kind of like a 2-3, a little 5 that kind of dictate everything in that area of the park. Xhaka can go forward, maybe take a little bit more risk, maybe express himself a little bit more, have a little bit more fun with it, make a run he wouldn't have made before, because I think he's someone who shoulders a lot of responsibility in game. Xhaka, he thinks, if I make this run, I'm leaving a lot of space behind, and I need to be able to help there as well. And with that, you're seeing like more adventure to his game. And I've got to be honest, he's looking more like the Xhaka I thought we were signing all those 7 years ago when I was watching his comps on YouTube and trying to understand what kind of player we were signing. We never saw that. I thought we got more of like a poor Xabi Alonso, you know, someone who's plays it around and knocks it about and wants to dictate from deep. But now we're seeing this more box-to-box energetic midfielder who supplements everything around him, and it's amazing. So I think if I were to pin it to one thing, it's the improvement of the team, allowing players to express themselves more.
It's kind of Arteta then.
I think you could put a lot of it down to Arteta, and don't take anything away from Granit Xhaka. The guy has also improved. What I don't agree with is when I see it on Twitter, fans say, "Oh, see, now everyone's understanding what Xhaka's all about." I wouldn't go that far. For me, Xhaka wasn't always playing at this level and we all just missed it. No, this is a level above anything we've seen before, and I'm so happy for him because everyone loves a redemption story, and we all know how bad it went, and he has spoken about it quite openly recently. And look at him now, scoring goals against Man United, scoring goals in the North London derby to seal the points, and wearing the armband, and everyone's loving it, and that's brilliant.
Nobody's saying anything about the armband, and him being also a natural leader on that pitch. Once again, after that first goal, pulling all the players into a huddle and telling them to concentrate. Rizwan, oops, sorry, I was just about to read your one. Rizwan, he says,
go on.
if we win against Liverpool, you'd have to imagine we'd go on a strong run until the World Cup. We have the quality to challenge for the top, but not the depth. D3MI says, I sent on the AFTV Insta page. It's a bit of a stat about Man United. You want to check that out and see what it is? Harry Weston says,
I'll look at it.
I would go for a taller striker as another option, like Sesko or Broja. Big money for Sesko, but got so many Haaland traits. Anthony TO1993 says, sympathy for expressions, hashtag free Jed Spence. Sympathy for who? Nah, no sympathy for that boy. I'm telling you that, man. He was giving it. No sympathy for expressions. Diego says, so who was Xhaka's last game against? Spurs, his first and only man of the match award in an Arsenal shirt. Also, Robbie, would you take Basuma next summer if he hands in a transfer request? I would still take a Basuma because I think he'd be a good backup to Partey. James and Cecil once mocked me for comparing Xhaka to Hendo, says they.
Do you know what? If I did, then I got that wrong. Fair enough.
It's very similar
I think his function in that midfield
is Henderson, isn't it? It's a similar style, isn't it?
Well, if you compare it to the balance of Liverpool's midfield, where I guess if everyone's fit, it's Thiago, Henderson, Fabinho. Yeah, you got Partey that sits as Fabinho would. You got Thiago and Odegaard who would be the dictators, the controllers, the playmakers, and you got Henderson and Xhaka who facilitate everything, who get up and down, who add to the front, who make it a front five when they get forward, who drop into the defence to cover as well, and look after everything, all the vacated spaces when everyone's moving around. So you know what, you have an apology from me if I did mock you. That doesn't sound like me. Do I mock? I could barely mock Spurs after this. But what I can say is
might have been me. I'm always mocking.
Maybe. I could so imagine myself, 6 months ago though, reading that and thinking there's no way he's like Henderson. I didn't think he had the mobility. I didn't think he had the mobility.
He's showing mobility as well.
He's showing mobility, showing energy, showing pace.
Up and down the pitch, because it's not just the goals he's scoring, the assists. It's not just how great he's been in attack. It's been how good he's been getting back with vital tackles and blocks and vital bits of defending and organising, and he's been. I mean,
that third goal. It's taking the initiative to sort of take it off Martinelli. I think Martinelli maybe gave him a short pass over, but then his first touch takes him away from Dyer, and he slams in. I'm thinking, is that Van Persie? I'm joking, but my point is, it's like it was so quick, it was so instinctive in front of goal. He knew that's where the space is being left. I'm going to turn past the defender. I'm going to lash this. It was really like it's what you see from players with real quality in the final third, who have a real instinct for goal. And credit to him, it's a great finish.
KD says, I still think we should go for Vlahovic next summer. He's unreal, has all the traits similar to Haaland, could help us to bridge the gap. Just as you're talking there as well, right? Like you just mentioned Eric Dyer. Now, I said this in was it our player ratings? How is Eric Dyer in the England squad and Ben White isn't?
I don't know. Listen, he's not having a bad season, Dyer.
He was rubbish at the weekend.
He was. People who watch him more closely, aka Tottenham fans, will say he's absolutely deserved his place in the England team, so fair enough, I won't argue with that. But I can't understand for the life of me how Ben White's not made the squad.
Ridiculous.
I don't know what he's got to do. Maybe he's playing right back and that's the problem.
Lone Star Londoner says Robbie Xhaka, Zinchenko is inverted, so Xhaka plays much higher. He's sharp and incisive with his passes in the middle and final third. He can get forward and score, and his leadership and confidence is renewed.
Do you know what else he adds in that role? He makes a lot of runs to the back post. And do you know one quality Xhaka's got that's always really underrated is his heading ability? Not because he doesn't actually win a lot of headers from corners, what I mean by that is he doesn't score headers from corners or whatever, but he's actually very good. He wins a lot of his headed duels, and he gets to the back post and causes real havoc. Sometimes you just need to whip it to the back post and just hope it drops for you somewhere. And he's been making that run as well, and that is probably why you're going to take the piss out of me now. This is probably why Arteta is using him in that box-to-box role and Zinchenko as the left back, because Zinchenko's such a crisp passer of the ball. Never mind, just and Xhaka has that kind of almost physical and aerial attribute as well when he gets to the back post. He's doing brilliantly. He's doing really, really well. I never ever saw a turnaround like this.
Right, you know what? I think should he? Actually, we've got 402 likes. I want to see 1,000 likes on this video. I want to see 1,000 likes on this video. If you think James should just pay up right now on the bet that we had, right, where he said that Zinchenko will spend most of the season playing in midfield and not as a left back. He just said, it was his words, as a left back, right? Give me 1,000 likes, they just pay me up. What was it again?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The 50, 100, what was it? 100, wasn't it?
It was 100, yeah.
100, you could just pay me up. Give me 1,000, like we got up for 503.
What's the cash out option?
533.
What is the cash up? Okay, the cash out option. Is there one?
What cash out? The cash out option's gone. No, I gave you.
You gave it to me after Palace.
I gave you that cash out option last week as well, and you refused it, right? That is no longer available, right? You pay up my money, right? Pay up.
You gave me a cash out option.
592 likes. Give me that 1,000, man.
You gave me.
You are live on here, man. Give me £100.
You gave me a cash out option of 80 quid after Palace.
That's right. Yeah.
That was not.
No, it wasn't Palace. I gave you another. There was another game.
Oh, how generous.
It was the Bournemouth game. No, not Bournemouth. There was another game. I'll give you a cash out option.
Yeah.
So
it's
keep,
not
keep those
good.
lights coming up.
It's not looking good for me.
Hit 44 says, what will the fan reaction be if we're in a position to win the league but bottle it in the last few games? Like last year, most people didn't predict us to finish 5th, but fans were upset because of how it ended. Listen, I think
So can I read that one more time? So
basically saying if we
fine. I think everyone would be fine with it.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd be disappointed, but
KD says, Robbie, do you think we'll go for Vlahovic? I don't think so. I don't think Juventus are going to sell Vlahovic. They've invested a lot of money in Vlahovic. They're not going to bin him after 1 year. I think he scored at the weekend as well, didn't he?
Don't know.
Yeah, I think he scored at the weekend. I like the look. I saw that Sesko playing the other day. Have you seen him?
What a goal he scored in international duty. He's tied
huge,
to Leipzig. He's going
I think now, because of the Haaland thing, though, I think every player that's like about 6'4" or 5", everyone's like, get him, we need to get our own Haaland.
Yeah, left-footed as well.
It's not as easy as that, man. It's not as easy as that. Get those likes up to 1,000.
Why is Ammo asking you to deduct it from my salary? Who the hell do you think he is?
What salary?
Obviously, Kira says Robbie bullying James for his lunch money.
Football Champ says, James, pay up, James.
Thank you, Charles. Zinchenko has been playing the whole season as a pivot in midfield. Come on now, Robbie, be honest.
He's a left back, right? And he may drop in and be inverted sometimes, help out, but he's a left back. When they put the formation up, when you did your formation this morning,
yeah, he's a left back. No, I know. Yes, he's playing left back. I agree.
Well, there we go.
Do you know what? You are right. I've given it to you. He's playing left back. But I'll just say this one thing. The way he's being used, though, all the qualities that would make him a really good midfielder, we're seeing them anyway. Doesn't affect the bet. Don't. It's nothing to do with that. But you can at least. He basically is playing in central midfield. He's a left back who's covering in there. But we're seeing the qualities we thought we were going to get from him. Give me something, Robbie, man. I'm starving here. Come on.
James Bolton says, stand sure, James. Zinchenko covers left back from midfield. No, he don't. He covers the other. It's the other way round.
I'm losing this one. What am I about? Am I about 8-0 down or something?
Yeah,
7-0
down. Jack Burton says, is Ben White an international standard? He was poor against Switzerland. I think Tomori is better. I don't. I think Ben White should be in the squad.
He's better than Cody, Maguire and Dyer for me. So
yeah, and Mings. Yeah, so he should be in there.
Yeah. But playing right back might do him a disservice in his. He's played brilliantly for Arsenal, but it might get in the way of his England chances.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. That might affect his chances in the England team, but for the player's quality.
I wouldn't take it personally if I were Ben White, though. Trent Alexander-Arnold's I know he's not in great form, but is one of the best right backs I've ever seen, and he doesn't get in the England team.
Even things you see like Walker will play like as a centre back in a free.
Yeah. Now, true, you mix it up for him. Yeah.
Surely Ben White would do better in that position as a guy who can play both of those positions. You know what I mean? I don't know. He should. I'm not saying he starts, but he should be in that squad. With some of the players that I see, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, you saw how they got peppered. I mean, it weren't Maguire's fault yesterday because he weren't playing. Although United fans will still probably try and blame it on him. But I just think he should definitely. He should definitely be in the squad. Anthony Tio 1993 says, not just Zinchenko, Tierney has moved inside more.
Yep.
Librova says, James is usually spot on most of the time, but has been very wrong with Zinchenko. Surprised that he got that one wrong, and so adamant about it. Big up James on AFTV. Surprised, he said.
Well, listen, I rarely get it wrong, do I?
Lou B. Haynes says Ramsdale or Pope for the World Cup.
It's got to be Ramsdale.
Have you seen that young player from Benfica called? Nope. I'm not going to get caught out with that. Great backup for Jesus. The thing is, right?
That is such a poor effort, Lou. Really,
that is a shocking effort.
That is I mean,
but Ramsdale should be in. Ramsdale should be behind. I think Pickford starts at the moment because. No, I'm being real about this. Pickford, when he's played for England, he ain't really let him down, and he had an outstanding. He kept Everton up with his saves last year. Right?
Yeah, so I still prefer Ramsdale.
Pickford, yeah, I prefer Ramsdale, but Pickford, you couldn't hate on him if he started. But in number 2 spot after him is Ramsdale. Nick Pope. Have you seen his distribution?
Is it crap?
Yeah, it's rubbish, man.
Listen, I just think Ramsdale is England's best goalkeeper right now. But Southgate, I'm not emotionally invested in Southgate's decisions. If you want to take them on the trip and let them rest and recover, then fine, it's not my problem.
Stephen Bolger says Arsenal need to use the momentum they have to achieve success in order to keep their best players and tempt some great new players. We often used to seeing good but less than great players sign. Getting into the Champions League is so important. I mean, you know, you can. I mean, we did well to get the signings of Jesus and Zinchenko without no Champions League. I mean, they must really have been convinced by Mikel Arteta. I mean, I think we don't give Arteta enough and Edu enough props for getting those two across the line because they could have went to a Champions League team.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they could have. Yeah, they definitely could have. They've clearly shown that they've got that quality.
Justin.
Oh, go on. I was going to address some comments. There's a few I've saved here.
All right, I'll do this one, and then you can address those. Where did it go? It's disappeared on me now. Justin Chinonso says we can actually go for Mudryk.
I hope we do in Jan.
Kalia or Pedro Neto as a relief for Martinelli and Saka respectively. With this, we could win the league this season. So
Carl says, by James' logic, White basically plays central midfield too. He does sort of, although he overlaps a lot more than Zinchenko. He definitely did that against Spurs. Dave Jordan says James has been twerking for Conte all show. Arteta is better. Listen, I'm just showing respect and being fair. That's all. We've got our win. What were you going to say, Robbie?
I also wanted to touch a little bit on the other games at the weekend.
Yeah.
The game yesterday, City beating Man United 6-3. They look good against City, don't they?
They look unbelievable. I didn't even know.
Haaland 3 hat tricks in a row at home.
Well, I didn't think he had an assist at him like that either. I mean, what a lovely pass. Did he get 3? He got 3 goals, 2 assists, didn't he, Haaland?
It's crazy.
Bloody hell. He's incredible. But I've got to say, I mean, how it must absolutely, throw you off if you're a defender like Varane, right? Who's won Champions League, played with some of the best, played against some of the best, and you've still got a player in front of you. Well, my point is he's very experienced, and you've got a player in front of you like Kevin De Bruyne, who can literally lift it and curve it around whoever he wants and put it on a plate for Haaland. You're thinking, okay, great. Well, if he whips it in, De Gea claims it. If not, I'm here. And he finds that perfect area. There's certain things that you can't defend. And I did a little reaction to that game. A little part of me kind of thought, while I'm going to enjoy watching the Man United fans suffer through this, because that's what football banter's about, a little part of me thought, I can't really even judge United too seriously on this, because City could just do that. I mean, they were scoring goals that I was looking at thinking, these are perfect goals. These are perfect goals. The way they executed them, the finish, the cross, the delivery, the runs, the movement, the pressing. And I love the title talk around Arsenal that I think a lot of Arsenal fans are having some fun with, and that's right. We're right to do so. I saw Tim Stillman tweet, "Man City really are going to be the greatest Premier League runners-up ever," and I love that kind of thing. But if we're just being frank for a second here, it will take something extraordinarily special to slow them down to even get close.
That could be Saliba. Hemel Nanda says there's Saliba versus Haaland will be a challenge. Are we honest with you? I'm a bit gutted that our game this month with Man City has been cancelled. I'm really gutted about that, because I would really have liked to seen Arsenal this year, be tested against Manchester City. I'd love to see how that battle between Saliba and Haaland would turn out. Because, seriously, I mean, I don't know if anybody can contain Haaland, but I think maybe if there's somebody out there who might be able to put a good shout in it right now, it is Saliba. And I would have loved to have seen that battle. And now I'm a bit annoyed that we're going to end up having to play City twice next year because they've had to move that fixture because of the Queen's funeral, and then we had to move the Europa League game.
Yeah.
I wanted to see how. I think that's the ultimate test. You know what I mean? How will Arsenal get on against, Man City and Haaland? Listen, we've got another big test this weekend against Liverpool. That's another huge test.
It's a huge test. Forget the form they're in. They can. I think they can turn it on.
Yeah,
they're trying to. Clearly, it's not quite happening. In front of goal, they were good against Brighton, but they can turn it on, and I'm wary of them. But I'm with you. I'd love to have seen that Saliba Haaland battle, nearer now because of the form they're both in. We're going to see it a little bit later in the season.
Two great young players.
Do you know what I think makes Haaland so hard to stop? Is because you don't really know. Yeah, okay, you say, well, cut the supply to him. Well, how'd you do that? You can't stop Grealish, Foden, Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne. They all started in yesterday's game with Gundogan sitting. Gundogan's a box-to-box midfielder. And don't worry, guys, you have your fun. You got plenty. I'll sit. It's fine.
Taking a mick, isn't he?
Absolutely taking it. Did you see the subs he made? He brought in Sergio Gomez, who I think's barely kicked a ball recently since he's arrived. Julian Alvarez, who's very young, though a good signing. They moved Bernardo Silva to holding midfield. He's not holding midfield. He's a winger / number 10, but they moved him there. They alternated their centre-back partnership. They changed their left-back. It was done, and even then when they pulled a couple goals back, it was still 6-3. City were absolutely taking the piss yesterday, and that's what makes me really worried, because as I said a couple of minutes ago, I'm not even judging Man United massively. They could do that to anyone. So I wasn't coming away from that, Ten Hag ball's rubbish. You can't really judge it so early, and you can't really judge it too much. What you can do is look at the way City scored some of those goals and think, how do you stop Haaland when he's stronger than you, he's faster than you, his movement's better than yours, he's cleverer than you, and actually, even when he's not the one getting into the box, he'll pull wide and still put it on a plate for Foden.
I know how to stop him. Call Saliba. Call Saliba. Now, it's a shame that we're not going to get to see how Saliba would cope against him, because certainly at the moment he does look absolutely unstoppable. I've only got 795 likes, man. I need more. We got 6 minutes of the show left, man. I need more likes so to get my money. Yeah? I don't get my money off of this guy here.
I mean, I want to say don't, but at the same time,
Colby Walker says Liverpool is a bigger game than Tottenham, in my opinion. We win against them, and it's a huge statement. I agree with you, Colby. I actually agree with you. It's not that it's a bigger game, because North London Derby for me is like the biggest game of the season, but it's a bigger game in that, listen, we've beaten Tottenham even when we've been playing.
No, I know exactly what you mean, yeah.
Liverpool, they always seem to get the better of us. I think it would be a real statement. If we could beat Tottenham and Liverpool in the space of 2 weeks, people are going to start looking and thinking, hey, we've got to start really taking Arsenal a little bit more seriously now. They are doing something really, really special there. So I agree with you on that.
Dave Jordan says, Aston Villa managed to stop them. Relax, James. Man United are terrible. Listen, Haaland still scored. He still scored. He's got 3 hat-tricks in 3 home games. He's got 3 Premier League hat-tricks in 8 games.
Villa should have beaten them.
Villa had that goal disallowed, didn't they? Yeah. I don't think this Man City team are actually on the eye quite as good as they've been in other years under Guardiola, if that makes sense. They're not quite as all action flair and all that, but they've just got Haaland as a cheat code now. That goal, they had no right to score that third goal. The Man United players have largely done the right thing. De Bruyne is running at goal, they've got in front of him, but they've cut off the obvious passes, so he had to stop for a second and think about what he's going to do. He goes, alright, well, I'll just lift it over you, whip it round you, put it in that impossible area, and Haaland will bury it. I was watching that thinking, can you really blame Varane for that? Maybe you can. A professional coach will tell me, but
Therefore, I came here to listen to Arsenal. Just leave us alone.
That did make me laugh. Apologies.
Tony C says, I think we should double up on Haaland. Perhaps 2 big defenders on him, e.g. Saliba and White. I think Gab, Ma will probably foul him and give away a penalty. The problem is you double up on him, then you've got so many other great players. But then, listen, as I said, I'm genuinely, it's not to say we beat them, I'm just genuinely disappointed. I'm just genuinely disappointed that we're not going to be playing City this month. I wanted to see us test ourselves against City. But we just got to keep winning the games that we've got in front of. What we've got now, we've got Liverpool. As Premier League games go, Liverpool at home, then we've got Leeds away. What follows that after that game? Let me get the.
I want to have a little look.
Yeah, let me get the games up.
We had Everton postponed.
Everton, that was another game that got. Yeah, so we got Liverpool, then we got Leeds away. This is Premier League. Then we got Southampton away on Sunday, the 23rd of October. Then Nottingham Forest at home. And then going into November, this is just before we get to the World Cup, we've got Chelsea away, Brighton at home, and Wolves away. Right, those are the 3 games before we go into the World Cup. Now,
there's an opportunity.
There is an opportunity. I mean, listen, Brighton's a tough game. They're playing really well at the moment. Chelsea away, never easy, as we won there last year, though. Wolves away, we won there last year. Forest at home, winnable. Southampton away, we lost there last year. We need to revenge that.
You've got a weird record at Southampton.
Leeds away, we won there last year. We if we can beat Liverpool, we really do have the opportunity to go on a great run. It really does give us a lot of confidence as well. Hey, I need more likes, man. Listen, my time is running out.
They don't. It's because they know deep down I'm right. Zinchenko.
1 minute, I need those likes. So get that to 1,000.
You're going to stretch out this show, aren't you, just to get those likes?
No, I'm not stretching out the show. Get it to 1,000. Let's get those likes to 1,000. There you go. 1,008. Money, please.
I didn't agree to this. I'm still holding out.
Money, man.
I'm still holding out for Zinchenko to do a madness and play the last 30 games. He's going to play the last 30 games in midfield. I'm going to die on this hill, Robbie. I'm telling you.
All right, he didn't pay up my money.
I may as well wait till it's mathematically possible.
He didn't pay me my money, but listen, we come to the end of the show today. James, has been absolutely brilliant. All you salty Tottenham fans, stop making excuses. Look deeper into how you lost the game. It was because of the manager's tactics and just you came up against a much better team. Simple as that. We were better. That's why we deserve to win it. But we put all that to one side. Derby game, everything like that. We have a big game coming up this weekend. 2 good games. We've got Bodo Glimt coming up on Thursday. We're going to be all over it. Look out for the previews and everything like that coming up for that game. We've also got Liverpool at the weekend. Another huge game. We're going to have some great content around that Liverpool game. Another super fan debate. Liverpool fans a little bit. I was doing a show on DR today with AJT, man. He's a little bit. I've never seen him like this. I couldn't believe it. I was like,
a little bit apprehensive.
He was, not even apprehensive, like a bit defeatist and having a go at this player and that player. And I was like, I've not seen that from Liverpool fans for quite a long time. So
they're going through a bad spell.
They are going through a little bit of a tough
I still never write them off.
Never write them off.
I'm telling you now, I'm much more nervous about this game against Liverpool than I was going into the Tottenham game. Yeah. And Tottenham were in good form, 5 wins, 2 draws, bro, all that.
Well, they were unbeaten.
They're unbeaten, so, North London Derby, all that, but I still... It's Liverpool I respect the most of the two.
It's a tough game. But look out for all the great content we've got coming up. We've got the Alex Scott interview dropping as well. So make sure you check out our interview that we did with Alex Scott. Absolutely brilliant. And also, we'll be back here tomorrow at 5 o'clock with another AFTV Live. Every day at 5 UK time we are here. One thing to say before we go, and that's stand up. If you ain't talking.
That's how we're ending it.
If you ain't talking. See you later.